The oldest house. As the setting of control, we spend quite a bit of time within these shifting walls. Standing against the Manhattan skyline at 33 Thomas Street, this building goes unnoticed by New Yorkers. As a place of power, one characteristic of the building is that only those who are aware of its presence can see it. Once inside, the visitors find the interior to be much larger than the outside. Not only that, but it has pathways leading to other places, thresholds of reality other than our own. But this is only the short description of what the house is. To dig even deeper, we must explore the inspiration of the oldest house and the relationship between symbols and collective consciousness. While it is well known that Remedy took inspiration from the works of Stephen King and David Lynch, one of the biggest influences for the oldest house is found within Mark Dandalewski's House of Leaves. I won't be going into much detail, as attempting to summarize this story does it no justice. It is something that must be experienced. One of the narrative threads follows the Navison family, who moves into a new house on Ash Tree Lane. This is the basis for the Ashtray Maze. After living in the house for some time, it is determined that not only is the inside of the house larger than the outside, but it is still growing. A door appears leading to an impossibly shifting labyrinth that feels similar to building shifts. While it cannot be fully stabilized, techniques were discovered to help mitigate the shifting hallways. These techniques are directly tied to human consciousness. One group of characters going down a spiral staircase wonder if it will go on forever and end up spending days traveling down. Another group knows there is a bottom and reaches it in only a few minutes. Between the building shifts and control points in the oldest house, it is obvious a lot was taken from this book. This short description of Ash Tree Lane brings up an important point that is relevant about understanding what exactly the oldest house is. That is the power collective consciousness has over how we perceive the world. A lot of these questions were initially asked by the former head of research, coincidentally named Dr. Ash. He wondered about the tree etchings found everywhere, one even being the gate leading down into the caves.
I've spent a long time contemplating the etchings of the tree and its roots. Did you know this city used to be a forest? I wonder if our oldest house were a different face back then. Or if it was always here. A 21st century office building since time immemorial. Can a place know the future? Can it change its skin?
During his time in the Foundation, he began to suspect that the house could change its form and at one point appeared as a great tree. Within the essay entitled On the History of the Oldest House, Dr. Ash directly references the Tree of Knowledge, Yggdrasil and Yggdrasil. These are great trees found in the Judeo-Christian theology, Mayan and Norse mythology respectively. All share similar archetypal backgrounds that can be applied to the oldest house.
Yggdrasil was said to have roots that plunged deep into the underground, and whose branches held up the sky.
Yggdrasil was the center point of the Norse cosmology, existing within all realms at once. With the roots of the house seen all throughout the Foundation and thresholds opening all throughout the oldest house, it is easy to see how similar they are. The important thing to understand is the difference between symbols and archetypal forms. In Ontology, the study of reality, there is a field of thought described as concrete versus abstract. Concrete being things we can touch, see, and smell. Concrete reality consists of things which we can experience with our five senses. Abstract reality involves things that can only be experienced in the mind. These consist of thoughts, philosophy, mathematics, and things of that nature. That being said, there is a relationship between the two. While mathematics is an abstract concept, numerals and symbols are concrete images we use to represent these abstract ideas. Symbols, however, can be different based upon the culture. While we are used to these numerals, there are other numerical systems using different symbols. The abstract form of what they represent, however, is always constant. With that in mind, these symbols and what abstract forms we apply them to is governed by the collective consciousness. This is described as a set of shared beliefs, ideas, and moral attitudes which operate as a unifying force within society. In an era of esoteric thought, the shared symbol for this place of power came in the form of a great tree. Now, the collective consciousness has formed this place of power into something that resembles a modern mindset, a 20th century skyscraper. This establishes that even though the oldest house and the great tree are different symbols, they represent the same archetypal form. But what is the underlying abstraction? Sometimes in order to understand our symbols, looking to others may give us an idea. Putting it simply, exploring other cultures and how they perceive the world can give us a greater understanding of our own. Due to the tree etchings and allusions to Norse mythology present throughout previous Remedy games, let's explore the nature of the Yggdrasil in greater detail. Standing in the geographic center of the cosmology, the Yggdrasil connects to the 9 realms through its roots and branches. As such, it contains pathways to other thresholds of reality. In Old Norse literature, it is believed that this great tree is in fact an ash tree. This alone shows an apparent link to how the oldest house connects to other thresholds, as well as its link to Ash Tree Lane and Dr. Ash. However, the more we look at the Yggdrasil, the more links we find. The roots of the tree are said to be watered by 3 wells. Urdabrunner, or the Well of Urd, was the home of the 3 Norns. Urd, Verdandi, and Skuld represented past, present, and future, and much like the fates in Greek mythology, wove the fates of all beings. Mimisbrunner was the second. Sometimes called Mimir's Well, it contained the waters of wisdom. The most relevant is Hvergelmir, which in one translation means the bubbling cauldron. This well rises from Niflheim, a realm of primordial darkness, ice, and mist. For Alan Wake fans, this draws images of Cauldron Lake, which leads down into the dark place, a realm of shadow and shifting mist. This lake is a caldera sitting over a volcano. When it heats up, it truly is a bubbling cauldron. The depths of Hvergelmir were said to house serpents, the greatest of which was named Nidhogg, and was said to gnaw at the roots of the Yggdrasil. Dr. Ash was able to uncover one pre-settlement account of Manhattan Island. In it, it stated, "And there I found a tree not known to me, the devil twisted within its bark." Dragons are simply winged serpents, so could this account reference Nidhogg coiled in the roots of the great tree? As mentioned earlier, the symbols of a culture may change as the collective consciousness changes, but the archetypal form remains constant. So let us compare the symbols and the essence of what they represent. The oldest house and Yggdrasil are symbols for the nexus point of reality. Just like the tree branches into other realms, the oldest house connects to other thresholds. The roots of the Yggdrasil can be aligned with the foundation of the oldest house, the place that gives the structure stability. The dragon Nidhogg gnaws at the roots of the tree, while entities such as the board latch onto the foundation to sustain themselves. In one myth, Nidhogg was trapped within the roots, not to be released until Ragnarok. During the service weapon ritual, the board refers to the house as a prison. As you can see, the comparison between the Yggdrasil and the oldest house are numerous. 2 symbols from different ages and cultures represent the same abstract form. However, if we accept this relationship as intentional, this means we may be able to predict what comes next. Since the Yggdrasil comes connected to other realities, the well-being of all the realms are dependent upon the well-being of the tree. This makes me concerned for the well-being of the oldest house. It is said that when the tree trembles, it is a sign that Ragnarok is coming. the destruction of the house could be, by extension, the destruction of all reality. The trembling of the Yggdrasil is also said to be caused by the dragon Nidhogg, which is released from his prison inside the roots during Ragnarok. What future catastrophe in the control setting could lead to a conflict worthy of being named Ragnarok?